In the previous movie, I showed you how to create a subroutine. Functions are similar to subroutines, but they're different in that you need to give the function a value or values to work with. To do that, you tell Access what to call the value or values it's receiving and what type of data it is. In this case, I will create a function that calculates markup for a particular product. First, I'll go into the Visual Basic Editor by pressing Alt F11 and then inserting a code module. So I'll click Insert on the menu bar and then click Module. I will start by typing function, F-U-N-C-T-I-O-N, and that is the keyword indicating that this is a function that returns a value, as opposed to a subroutine, which can manipulate the database but does not actually calculate anything. So we have function, and I'll call it markup, M-A-R-K-U-P, then the space, and then a left parentheses. Now, when we created a subroutine in the previous movie, I didn't pass any what are called arguments or values to the routine. But because this is a function, we need to give it some values and tell Access what type of data it is. I'll get into data types a lot more later on in the course, but for now, I'll just say that we have a variable named CUR, and then price, P-R-I-C-E, a space, and then as, a space, and then we need to tell it the data type, and this will be a currency value. C-U-R-R-E-N-C-Y, and then type a right parentheses, then type as, and then indicate what the markup will be, and for that, it's also a currency. I'll press enter, and just as Access added the end substatement to my subroutine, it also gives me an end function statement. Now we can create the calculation for the function markup. So for that, it will be markup, M-A-R-K-U-P, then equal, a space, and then it will be current price, or CUR price, C-U-R, P-R-I-C-E, times 0.1, and then press enter. Now what I can do is use the markup calculation inside of another procedure, and it can be either a subroutine or another function. In this case, I'll make it a subroutine. To create the subroutine, I'll type sub, S-U-B, a space, and then call it price plus, P-R-I-C-E, P-L-U-S, again no spaces, and then an empty pair of left and right parentheses, and press enter. Now I can type message box, MSG-BOX, then a left parentheses, and then type in a double quote mark, and then for a price of $12.50, or $12.50, comma, markup is, then a space, and then a double quote, then an ampersand, and we'll get into all of this later on in the course, so I'll just put it in for now. For a price of $12.50, markup is, then type markup, M-A-R-K-U-P, and a left parentheses, and now you can type in a value for the currency price variable, and that is 12.5, then a right parentheses, then an ampersand, double quote, and a period, and then another double quote, and a right parentheses to end the message box functions argument. So what I'm saying is that for a price of $12.50, markup is, then I use the markup function to do the calculation and finish with a period. So now when I press F5, Access indicates that for a price of $12.50, markup is 1.25. And when I click OK, the message box closes. Access functions are a little bit more limited than functions are in Excel. For example, in Excel, you can use a function in a worksheet calculation. You can't do anything similar in Access. Instead, you can only use functions inside of other VBA procedures.